Something's different in LA. You can feel it before anyone even puts it into words. A veteran everyone was basically counting down to retirement is suddenly being talked about like a one more run guy. At the same time, there's real buzz around an interior offensive line target who could change how Justin Herbert even has to operate in the pocket. There's a quieter Baltimore name that just screams fit for the new system. And at the Combine, one small coaching detail might have told us what the Chargers are really thinking about the wide receiver room moving forward. So I'll toss it to you like this. Do you want steady continuity, or do you want a hard reset? Stay with me, because I'm circling back at the end to the wildest point in all of this. And if you like Chargers coverage that's straight, fast, and actually about football, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. A year ago, the early talk around Khalil Mack had that this might be it feel to it. Nothing official, nothing written down, just the vibe in the air. Like we were all bracing for the moment he'd call it and hang up the cleats. This year, totally different energy. Coming out of the Combine, the early sense around the league is that Mack keeps playing, and that he keeps playing in powder blue. Daniel Popper of The Athletic laid it out after getting the feel of the entire league in Indy. His takeaway was simple. He believes Mack will return to the Chargers. And Popper didn't pretend there aren't other paths. Mack could retire. Mack could go chase a bigger salary somewhere else. But at this point, winning is the priority for him, and the Chargers present a really strong opportunity to do that. Popper says Mack believes in Justin Herbert and Harbaugh. He likes living in LA. He's talked often about his appreciation for Ben Herbert in player performance. And the part that lands the hardest, Popper has a tough time believing Mack is going to walk away without a playoff win on his Hall of Fame resume. Then you add the football part. The film says he can still be an impact player. That last line is the whole thing. This isn't just sentimentality. This isn't bring him back because it looks right in the jersey. It's bring him back because he can still swing downs and change how offenses call a game. Now, nothing is set. Free agency moves fast, and money has a way of rewriting everybody's plan. Spotrac has an estimated next deal around $18.4 million based on age and comparable contracts. If another team goes way above that, like truly goes reckless, then the Chargers might have to walk away. And that's what makes this feel urgent right now. Because the second it turns into a bidding war, you're not just choosing a player, you're choosing an identity. And this is exactly where the Bolt fam splits. One side is like, pay the legend, keep that edge room strong, don't overthink it. The other side is like, he's 35, be disciplined, don't let your heart spend your cap. Both sides are being real, but you can't ignore what it does to the whole defense either way. Keeping Mack alongside Tuli Tuipolotu for at least one more season gives you stability and a runway. It buys you time. You can draft and develop the next group without forcing a panic pick. You can keep Mack in a rotational role, let him mentor, and keep that standard in the locker room, because that part matters too. Continuity on defense isn't just comfort, it's leverage. And with Chris O'Leary back in the building to replace Jesse Minter, that stability matters even more. So yeah, the early signs point to Mack being back. And honestly, it would feel strange seeing him suit up anywhere else. But while that decision is hanging over the defense, there's something on offense that could change the whole day-to-day life for Herbert. Because the detail a lot of people gloss over is right in the middle of the line. It's not flashy. It doesn't trend like wide receiver. But it decides whether your offense is living in third and long or actually controlling games. And right now, quietly but clearly, the Chargers are being pulled into the Tyler Linderbaum conversation. Last week, it didn't even feel realistic. The Baltimore News made it sound like Linderbaum might not reach the open market at all. Then you add the perception around Joe Ortiz. He's not exactly known as the guy who throws the loudest punches in free agency. So a lot of fans basically shrugged and wrote it off like, cool idea, but come on. Then the Combine hits. The whole league gets in the same building. Conversations speed up. Things that felt like maybe later suddenly feel like right now. And the tone shifts. Jeremy Fowler at ESPN wrote that the Chargers are looking for interior offensive line help and that they're a threat to sign Linderbaum. And the detail he included is the one that makes the connection feel way less random. Ortiz was in Baltimore when the Ravens drafted him. That's why the line from Linderbaum to the Chargers has always been easy to draw. And the cap side of it? The money is there. The Chargers have roughly $85.4 million in free cap space. SpotTrack has Linderbaum projected around 4 years, roughly $71 million. Strictly financially, the math checks out. But just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that's where this gets complicated, because Ortiz has a lot to juggle. Mack is a decision. Odafe Oweh is a decision. The interior line needs more than one fix. There's pressure to keep the defense strong under a new coordinator. You've got extensions coming. Tuli Polo 2 isn't going to get cheaper. You've got to pay an entire draft class. You've got to keep the roster balanced. So the real question becomes, do you make one premium swing and build around it? Or do you spread that money across multiple spots and try to patch the whole thing at once? Be honest, how many times have we watched this offense get stalled out because pressure came straight up the gut? How many snaps has Herbert had to play quarterback and escape artist at the same time? That's why the jump from Bradley Bozeman to Linderbaum isn't just a solid upgrade, it's a different level of football. A truly elite center changes protections. It changes timing. It changes the run game. It changes how comfortable a rookie guard feels next to him. Cleaner pockets can turn into chunk plays, and short yardage can become something you actually trust instead of something you just hope survives. And there's another layer that's going to spark an argument in the Bolt fam: scheme fit. The offensive line isn't just about stacking names, it's about how the pieces work together. The way this has been framed as a real possibility lines up with the idea that the blocking approach up front is changing. If the new offensive direction is asking for a specific kind of center, and the Chargers believe Linderbaum is that guy, then it stops being a luxury and starts looking like a foundation. So yeah, it's on the table. Not guaranteed. Not a done deal. But actually on the table. And if that happens, it triggers another chain reaction. Because while everyone is locked onto the biggest Baltimore name, there's a quieter Ravens free agent who might fit Ortiz's usual style even better. When you hear Chargers going after Ravens, most people immediately jump to Linderbaum. But there's a sleeper here, tight end Charlie Kolar. And I get it. At first glance, it doesn't hit you in the face. Kolar isn't a fantasy football headline. He's caught 30 passes over 4 seasons in Baltimore, and he's been a niche role player behind a depth chart dominated by Mark Andrews and others. So if you're a box score only person, you look at it and you shrug. But the Chargers don't need a tight end who's going to hijack the entire passing game. They need a tight end who helps the offense function the way it's supposed to. Daniel Popper added to this, saying that as the Chargers look at tight ends in free agency, they'll be prioritizing 2 traits: blocking and athleticism. And Kolar checks those boxes. That combo matters because of where this offense is heading. A tight end who can block, move, line up in different spots, and take on the dirty work snaps gives you flexibility. It keeps your play action honest. It helps your run game. It stops defenses from keying on tendencies. It's not glamorous, but it's real football. And if you want the most practical reason this matters, it's Ron Gadsden. The Chargers hit big with Gadsden in the 4th round last year. He became a legitimate option for Herbert. 49 catches, 664 yards, 3 touchdowns in 15 games. That's production. That's not a fluke. That's a building block. But if Gadsden is going to keep growing as a weapon, you don't want him spending a bunch of snaps doing everything else. You want him attacking zones, stressing linebackers, working the seams, living where points happen. So the job behind him becomes pretty straightforward. Go get a reliable veteran who can do a little bit of everything, especially the stuff that never shows up in a highlight package. That's why Kolar makes sense. It wouldn't be a splash signing. It wouldn't win the headline game. But it's the kind of move that lets you spend big where it truly matters. Trenches, premium positions, and then use your premium draft picks on premium needs, especially in front of Herbert. And while all of that's being talked through, there was one combine moment that sparked a whole separate conversation. No interview, no rumor, just pure behavior. Wide receivers coach Sanjay Lal was locked in watching the receiver drills, especially the gauntlet, like it was personal. Front row, eyes on every rep. Now, the Chargers aren't strangers to having position coaches heavily involved at the combine, especially when a position is a need. What made this stand out is that wide receiver isn't supposed to be a glaring need right now. The room is young, the starters are back, and the only major pending free agent in that group is the veteran, Keenan Allen, who isn't signed through 2026. So why the intensity? Why that level of focus? Because there's a decision coming fast. Quentin Johnston's fifth-year option. If the Chargers don't pick it up, around $18 million, then you're staring at another former first-round pick heading into a contract year situation, the way Zion Johnson did in 2025. That affects how you plan the roster. It affects how you draft. It affects how you talk about the future of the position, even if you still believe in the player. And even if the Chargers do see Johnston as part of their long-term plans, there's still a straightforward football truth. The receiver room can benefit from specific types. A true outside X who can win vertically. A separator who can consistently threaten the deep parts of the field. Johnston has been asked to fill the X role even though it isn't the cleanest match for his best traits. He has gotten better, no question, but better and solved are not the same thing. Then there's the data point from this same conversation that makes it even more interesting. In 2025, the Chargers had 3 wide receivers ranked in the top 50 of ESPN's open score. Ladd McConkey at 12, Keenan Allen at 37, and Johnston at 50. OpenScore uses next-gen stats to track a receiver's ability to get open, whether they're targeted or not. That's not the only thing that matters, but it matters a lot, because getting open consistently is oxygen for an offense. And the team success observation tied to it is hard to ignore. On Championship Sunday, 3 of the 4 teams playing in conference championship games had at least 2 receivers in the top 20 of open scores, and the Patriots had 3. The one team without a receiver in the top 20? The Broncos. So the uncomfortable question is sitting there. If the Chargers want to live at the top of the AFC, do they need another elite separator? They've got the 22nd pick. And one of the best, fastest separators in the class mentioned in this same discussion is Texas A&M's KC Concepcion. Someone who could be there in that range. Nothing is decided yet. A lot depends on what happens in free agency first. If the Chargers handle the glaring holes on both lines before the draft, taking a receiver who adds separation and speed alongside McConkey stops being a luxury and starts being a ceiling raiser. If they wait until day 2 or day 3, there are other receiver prospects who can contribute early and fill a role. But Lal being that dialed in tells you something. They're not acting like the room is finished. They're evaluating like a team that expects to contend, not a team that's just trying to be respectable. And that swings us back to the wildest point, because all 4 of these threads connect. Mack potentially coming back isn't just nostalgia, it stabilizes a defense in transition. The Linderbaum talk isn't just a shiny name, it's a direct investment in Herbert's survival and efficiency. Kolar isn't a headline, it's roster craftsmanship to support the scheme and protect Gadsden's growth. And the receiver scouting isn't panic, it's a sign the Chargers are thinking one move ahead, not one move behind. So I'll leave you with this. Would you rather build the safe version of this team, or chase the version that can make a real playoff run and actually scare people? Drop your take in the comments. Continuity or rupture? And if you want more Chargers coverage like this, make sure you're subscribed, because this next stretch of decisions is going to shape what the Bolt fam feels at SoFi Stadium all season long.